what's happening with Payday 3? Why has Payday 2 currently got more players than Payday 3 has? Payday 3 is currently suffering from a lot of problems, mainly due to neglect and choice of game design. Now, why do I care so much about Payday? Well, to give a bit of context behind myself, I've played Payday 2 for quite a while. Not as when the game first came out, so I don't know what the early launch was like. But I've got a fair amount of hours in it, 406 plus. It's not comparable to some of the other dedicated fans out there, but it's a decent amount to care about a game series at least. I've gone back to play the original Payday the Heist, but come from Payday 2, it didn't feel as good, so I didn't play as much as that. However, I have very much been dedicated to Starbreeze and Overkill with Payday 2. I have bought pretty much every DLC minus one, which I missed out on because it was time limited, being the Overkill pack. And I've loved Payday. I've mainly enjoyed its social aspect and playing it with friends. I mean, I would quite often play Shadow Raid, it's been a while, on repeat over and over again with one of my good friends who didn't actually buy the game. I bought it for him because that's how much I loved the game. I wanted to share it with friends, and we joke about it to this day that he's got Payday 2 for free, considering anytime I want to get him back into the game I just buy him one of the DLCs on sale. And that's just the state of the game for me. I loved Payday 2, and hearing that Payday 3 was getting released, I was very optimistic but cautious with the track record has currently been left behind by Starbreeze. To expand, there was the Raid World War II game. It was made by Lion Games Lion, published by Starbreeze, and the game didn't do too well. It came out to very mixed reception. A lot of people just didn't enjoy the gameplay of the game, and I remember playing early access for it and just not enjoying it. It felt worse than Payday 2, you know. It was tried to be the same game, just didn't really work for me. Obviously, it had different connotations behind it, but they were trying to make a Payday 2 too, and it didn't work. Then, obviously, we had the very early announcement of Overkill's The Walking Dead game. This was during the massive Walking Dead hype phase, so everybody was kind of excited for that, considering the amount of Walking Dead games we got was fairly limited, and most were terrible at best. Granted, the only one which stood out was Telltale's, for at least the first season. The second season was a bit more divisive, but I believe the second season was right. Anyway, I digress. The Overkill Walking Dead game was cancelled because of how terrible it was. It came out, I pre-ordered it because I'm a dumbass, like I usually am with these types of games, and I didn't enjoy it. I refunded it pretty much immediately. I was able to get a gift copy, send one to my friends, so I at least had the social aspect, and even that didn't sell the game for me. It wasn't fun even with other people, and that is kind of a statement for a game. If you cannot enjoy it with other people, it's probably not a good game if it can't hold itself together. So when that came out, that was just not good for the game. So my expectations for Payday 3 were optimistic but cautious. I made the running joke that I'm going to pre-order the game, and I know that the game's going to be bad, hoping that best case scenario is I get proven wrong, and I pre-ordered a game that I love, and it would be just a funny joke. Worst case being I get proven right in a way that I really didn't want to be, which was getting betrayed by a company that I thought I trusted. And yes, I know, trusting game companies in modern day age, haha, they don't care about the consumer anymore. That is pretty true. So Payday 3 launched, and it was not good. The early launch for the game, people were struggling to get in. It had a very high player count for what it should have been, and the devs didn't expect that, and obviously there was not enough room on the servers, so people were struggling to get in. However, the game was also very poorly optimized, so people were very much quickly leaving afterwards due to crashes and other things. I remember I was not able to play for longer than an hour at a time because I would end up crashing out. And then I had to sit back in a queue and just try and wait. But that's not for Payday 3. That was for Helldivers 2. A game that has shared quite a similar development situation as Payday 3. Being that they are both online only, they are crossplay, and they are co-op. They both went through the same situation of server capacity. However, the main problem with Payday 3 was that servers died constantly. There was no way to get into queues, there was no way to play. With Helldivers 2, there is just queues, because so many people wanted to get in them, to the point where once people got in and they were done with the game, instead of closing it, they would just AFK until the next time they wanted to play the game. That was the main problem for Helldivers 2 on launch. But what did both developers do to sort of fix their issues? Well, Payday took to Twitter and kept posting that everything's okay, we're on the fix, we're going to be getting it done. Helldivers 2 said that they were addressing the issue as well. But a week passes for both these games, and Helldivers 2 implemented an AFK system fairly quickly, and Payday 3 did nothing. They said they fixed the servers. Lo and behold, next weekend rolls around, same issue. Next weekend rolls around, same issue. Anytime there is too many people, the server goes down, nobody can play. I remember they were trying to stream the game for Almir. They were doing development streams, and they were playing pre-recorded footage because they could not connect to the game because servers went down. That is what I found funny about Payday 3. Now, the main difference of development is clearly Arrowhead is developed by people who actually love their game and probably play it, as opposed to Payday 3, who I don't think they have strong leadership. I don't think they have a direction that they want to go, or even listen to people, because they didn't do much. They used the excuse of the game being crossplay for the reasons why updates were taking so long to come out, but with most recent developments, Helldivers 2, that's not the case. They've been able to get updates out fairly frequently, sometimes even back-to-back days I've seen. Small bug fixes, but still, just something. But the main reason why I say this is because obviously to update a cross-platform game, they need permission from the platform. PC you don't need permission to update on, which is why you'll see constant updates on Steam. But if you're updating on either PS or Xbox, you need permission from either Sony or Microsoft to update the game. Helldivers 2 is on PS5, Payday 3 is on PS5. Therefore, they need permission from Sony. But Helldivers was able to get it apparently much quicker. Now, is that because Sony was just letting them? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that Sony would gatekeep updates for one game and be absolutely open for another. Especially considering Payday 3's development team wanted microtransactions in the game. So if they can't update the game frequently, they can't retain a player base, they can't retain the ability to put microtransactions. Which at the end of the day, if they're selling microtransactions on Sony Store, they'll get a cut, which incentivizes them to do it. And if the microtransactions from Payday 3 were going to be anything like the DLC for Payday 2, it would have been very predatory. They would have absolutely tried to monetize as much stuff as they can, and I do believe that is why we've got the most bare bones equipment in the game at the moment. That's why we've got the most bare bones cosmetics, because they were probably going to incentivize us to just spend all our money instead. And that's the main thing of why I feel so betrayed by them. They planned this. They 100% chose this direction. They went online only to try and avoid cheaters because they didn't want people to cheat items into the game. They didn't want people to get everything, which, albeit, that is fair. because Payday 2 suffered from that. It was very easy to cheat in Payday 2. However, they were also very open to modding in Payday 2 for certain mods. Albeit, Payday 3 has modding as well. You can mod Payday 3. And speaking about this, I read not too long ago, there are mods currently in Payday 3 that allow you to unlock everything. So, even then, there's been counter to their online-only argument. They added a DRM to the game, which, if I remember correctly, they removed, thankfully, before the game released. But it was going to have a DRM, which just shows the development mindset that they were going to have as well. Any game that has DRM is probably not going to be a good game. Not saying that because I hate the idea of protecting your own stuff, but DRMs at the moment are just not good. They impact the game too much, and that's an unfortunate fact. To wrap up this video, Payday 3 is in a very tender spot at the moment. They have lost a lot of their fan base and are currently on life support regarding the amount of players that they currently have playing. I have not seen it go above 500, and at the rate that we're going, we probably won't see it go above 1,000 unless something major happens, unless a major update comes out that proves that they are changing the game for the better and that they are listening to community feedback, because at the moment there are too many fans that are willing to accept the treatment, the condition, and the overall disrespect that we, the Payday fans, have endured and received, but also just as gamers in general. This is becoming more and more the norm for games, that they can ship half-baked, unimaginative piles of excrement and then expect the players to just fight among themselves for and against them. People need to understand that there is a limit to how much we can stand behind a game company and forgive, especially those that don't want to listen to criticism. If a company is willing to listen to criticism, you can give them much, much more leeway. For instance, the Helldivers 2 devs, they are more than willing to listen to criticism, but they are also more than willing to stand their ground. I respect those devs because they are actually caring about the game. Payday 3 is in an unfortunate state at the moment where, with one wrong move, the game is just going to drift forever into limbo and space, and it's just going to be gone. And I don't want that. I loved Payday 2. It helped me as a gamer. It helped me as a person when I was in rough spots, because it was just something to distract myself with. Payday 3, I want to be a game that I can love. But at the moment, I find myself bored out of my mind playing it because it is just repetition. Unless there's a new heist that I can play, everything is the same. I just look at it and it is completely bland. It is colourless, both in actual design and personality. And at the moment, Payday 3 is on a knife's edge. It is about to go over the cliff. And the only people that can help this are the developers themselves. They need to listen to the criticism that have been put forward by bigger YouTubers like General McBadass. He made an excellent video on the current state of Payday 3, and honestly, if you already haven't checked him out and you've somehow managed to find my video, go check him out because he definitely deserves your attention for the effort that he put into that one. But anyway, in conclusion, I want Payday 3 to be better. I want the developers of Payday 3 to be better, because I know they can be. They've had the experience from Payday 2, but they've seemed to have forgotten it. Maybe after a while they might pick up those lost memories, but I'm not holding my breath on this. For me, they have another 3 months to release something substantial before I am just uninstalling the game and I'm not going back. I will not buy any more DLC from what I've already got, and I will not be giving them any more money in the future, because at the moment I am now voting with my wallet on the games that I care about, and games that I have been betrayed by. They have lost my respect, they have lost me. Unless they can prove that they deserve my respect again, as a gamer and as a human being, I will not be supporting them any longer. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but at the moment this is the way that we have to be for the gaming sphere. We have to take a stand on stuff that we are against and vote with what matters the most to these people: money. Because at the end of the day, they do not care about the player anywhere near as much as they used to back in the day. But anyway, this has been Derpy. Thank you for watching Derpy's review. Or Derpy reviews, or whatever I've called this series, because it's the first episode and I'm such a big moron. Anyway, thank you guys, I love you all. Have a good one.